అందరికీ నమస్కారములు. Today is the third day of our classes on Artha Sastra of Chanakya by Dr. Karanam Nagaraja Rao garu. So far in this second batch of level 2, advanced level 2 certificate course on Sanatana Dharma, we have completed 50% of our classwork, coursework. In that, we have gone into deep into Vedas and covered Sri Suktam, Narayana Suktam, and Purusha Suktam. And we have gone through the Vyakaranam of Panini Vyakaranam. Then we went on to Darshanas and Upanishads. After that, we had some yoga classes. 50% of the yoga classes are over, and 50% of Samskrutam learning is over. Now, also we have completed Vedic mathematics. Now we have Shodasha Samaskaramla, Sanatana Dharma. That is an important topic that is going to come. So let us start the session with paying respects to our country by reciting Vande Mataram, followed by Prarthana. Let us request Challa Chittibabu garu to recite Vande Mataram, please.
Vande Mataram, Vande Mataram, Sujalam Sufalam, Malayajasitalam, Sasya Syamalam Mataram, Vande Mataram. Subrajyosna pulakitayamini Pullakusumita drumadala shobhini Suhasini Sumadhura bhashini Sukhadam varadam mataram Vande Mataram Vande Mataram. Namaskar.
Vande Mataram. ధన్యవాదములండి చల్లా చిట్టిబాబు గారు. Now let us request Udya Venkat Narayan garu to chant Prarthana, please.
Meditation for a minute. Three times Onkar. गणानां त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनः शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम् ॐ श्रीमहागणाधिपतये नमः। ॐ प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामविद्रवतु। ॐ श्रीमहासरस्वत्यै नमः। गुरुरेव गतिर्गुरुमेव भजे गुरुणैव सहास्मि नमो गुरवे। न गुरोः परमं शिशुरस्मि गुरोः मतिरस्ति गुरौ मां पाहि गुरो। ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवं निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां हयग्रीवमुपास्महे। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मामृतङ्गमय। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। मातृदेवो भव पितृदेवो भव आचार्यदेवो भव अतिथिदेवो भव। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम।
ధన్యవాదములండి వెంకట నారాయణ గారు. థ్యాంక్ యూ సో మచ్. నౌ let us request the speaker Kanam Nagaraja Rao garu to continue the webinar, please.
शुक्लां वरदरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्याये सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. Good morning, all of you. Today is the third class on Kautilya's Arthashastra. First day, a brief introduction about, not brief, elaborate introduction about Kautilya's Arthashastra was given. And the second day, we were discussing the strengths of the state. The strengths of the states are the elements of the states we were discussing. Then modern concept also we were discussing. In the modern concept, that there are four elements are there. The population, government, like that, sovereignty, and also one more thing is there. These four things we were discussing. But here, Saptangita Rajya, 7 elements are discussed here. Why these 7 elements are discussed here, that we will be discussing today, because yesterday in the previous class we were discussing the Saptangayuta Rajya. We were discussing in the Saptangayuta Rajya, these are the elements like that we discussed. The basic purpose of Saptangayuta Rajya is that if the Sapta Angas are very much strengthful, then what will happen is that the kingdom will be very strengthful. It is actually, it will be a place where nobody can dare to enter into that place, like that. That is the idea of that giving, how the king should be there. If king is devoid of any vyasanas, and if he is an utsahavanta, and if he is having a lot of expertise in the field of anvichaki, trayi, varta, all these things, then what will happen is that he is supposed to be a great king. Otherwise, if he is a Durbala king, a very weak person, he can be easily suppressed. Like that, that was the idea of king. Similarly, all other elements that we will be discussing today. And then why we are discussing all those things is that if this is the case, then what is the purpose of this one king who wants to conquest other kings? Basically, the foreign policy of the state, that we will be discussing. Foreign policy of the state. What is the foreign policy? Why foreign policy is mentioned in Arthashastra? These type of things we will be discussing today. And I also promise you that today, now it is already 6:40, maybe 7:20, something like that. I would like to close so that 7:30 at least, because so that half an hour will be given for questions and answers. Because the last two classes also I extended up to 8 o'clock. So that questions could not be taken. First day questions were taken after national anthem, and today may not be. That should not be the case. They should be completed at least by 8 o'clock. That is the idea. So here today the foreign policy aspect. When we are discussing the foreign policy, what is the foreign policy? This is one thing which we should know. One is that basically here the audience is they are from different backgrounds. They are there. People may be expertise in political science, maybe people may not be expertise in political science, maybe their subjects are different. Normally, we feel that external policy is something different and internal policy is something different. How we deal with other countries and how we deal with our country. But here, the diplomats, even now modern diplomats, or even earlier also, they used to tell that foreign policy is nothing but the extension of the internal policy. That is the idea. Why the foreign policy has been designed by a country? The foreign policy has been designed by a country in order to give more protection to the people existing in this country. That is the idea. Basically, the interest of the states are more important. Sometimes at the foreign arena, we may be telling our diplomats may be telling some lies, or they may be doing some other things, or some activities which may not be morally correct and all these things. But all those things, why they are doing? They are doing for the sake of our people only. People taking into consideration of the people living in this country, we are taking such decisions at the foreign arena, not necessarily for gaining some what is called prominence or importance in the foreign stage. It is not like that. It is only for the purpose of giving some more support. This is an extension of the internal policy. That is the idea here. Suppose you are actually entering into an agreement with IMF or somebody, something of that nature, you need to take care of the interest of the people only. You need not to please any other persons. In order to please the country, you cannot donate some parts of India to some other countries. That is also done in India some time back. So you should not do like that. If you begin to do like that, what will happen is that you wanted to get a name and fame in other countries as if he is a great person. But at what cost? You are a trustee of this country. The king is the trustee of the country. Or in a present context, the prime minister is the trustee of this country. He cannot go and say that I will give away this particular land to you. He can give, but thing is that at the time of giving, he should take into consideration the overall picture of the country. Without that, just like that, entering into an agreement, somebody is inviting you, giving you a big dinner, and then you donate some part of the country. No, not even a blade of grass is grown there. Something of that nature. If you tell like that, what will happen is that you are not doing service to the country. This is the idea. So this is a foreign policy is an extension of the internal policy that we have to take into consideration. So here, Chanakya or Kautilya, he is discussing foreign policy aspects, how he has to deal with other countries, how he has to deal with the countries. Why he has to deal with other countries? Basically, Kautilya says that conquest means some continuous conquest of other countries is the prime responsibility of the king. That is what he is telling. That is one of the responsibilities of the king. Why he should conquer? That is also he is mentioning. What he is telling is that the king is duty bound to embark upon conquest with the aim to garner more land to the kingdom. That is the idea. More and more land has to be acquired for the kingdom. The people living in the state are expected to contribute their labor and also enterprise. Both things are there. Labor also they have to contribute, enterprise also they have to contribute, and increase what is called the wealth of the country in that fashion. So once the wealth is increased, the wealth can be distributed to other for the entire country. It can be distributed. Basically, it means that the political act of conquest means winning the other country. It results in economic development. This is the idea of Kautilya. Normally, we may feel that political conquest involves a lot of cost and all these things. But you have to see the cost aspect also you need to take into consideration. And then once it is acquired, what would be the benefit that you are going to get over a period of years, that also you take into consideration. Once you conquer certain piece of land, and if that is also actually merged with our country, then what would be the potential economic development that is going to happen, that you need to take into consideration. So this is the idea of conquest, going for a conquest. So when Rajasuya Yaga, Ashwamedha Yaga and all these things are propounded in Mahabharata and other places, the basic idea is that to get more and more money only. That is the idea. Wealth should be coming from different parts of the country, different parts of the countries across the world. This is the idea. But in Mahabharata and Chanukya Niti, the basic idea little bit change will be there according to experts, who are very much studied this Kautilya's Arthashastra. Some persons reason that maybe in earlier conquests and this the idea of conquering other countries by Kautilya, little difference is there. What they tell is that in Mahabharata and other places, once the king is conquering some other country, sometimes he is leaving the country in the hands of the local administrator only, local ruler only, and it is sufficient if that person is going to become your feudatory, that is called subordinate, and he is going to pay every year tribute he has to pay to the kingdom, that is sufficient. The king will be asking for a tribute at a different points of time, because king's coronation date or king's birthday date, and the day all other feudatories have to present here, stand in a queue and make presentation to the king, and they should go away like that. This is the idea in Mahabharata. That is the reason when Arjuna, Bhimasena and all these persons were sent to different parts of the world. Maybe Arjuna went up to China, and Bhimasena went up to what we call nowadays this eastern part of Burma and beyond, and Sahadeva went up to Sri Lanka, and also he sent a message to Vibhishana, like that it is mentioned in Mahabharata. You may be wondering why Vibhishana is still there like that, but in Mahabharata it is written that Vibhishana was still a king by that time. So he went emissary there, and if you are not going to give a tribute, we are here to conquer you like that. But then Vibhishana inquired about Sahadeva, who is Yudhishthira and all this is. When he come to know that he is a virtuous person, a great gentleman, Dharmatma like that, then Vibhishana on his own, he says that, okay, I will be giving you whatever money you want to take. Then he invites two persons, come here, and you, whatever amount of money, gold and all these things you want to take, you take away. That is your headache. This is here. Then they went there and they took away a lot of wealth, which itself is sufficient for the sustenance of the entire kingdom, like that it is mentioned in the this place. And then Nakula also, he went up to now present day Egypt and all these places, up to Europe and all these things he went there. But wherever the conquest is happening, they were leaving the countries in the local administrator, and it is sufficient if they pay the tribute. But Kautilya Arthashastra, what he says that once you conquer a country, the country has to be annexed. Why it is to be annexed? The kingdom should be more. The kingdom is more people, and people should go there, do the enterprise, and also labor. They should contribute. They should create the wealth there. That was the idea here. So that is the reason why he was advocating conquest. Go there, conquer the country, and leave it. And one more aspect which is there in Mahabharata times and earlier periods of Kautilya and Kautilya is that little difference is that prior to that. The conquest, once the idea of conquering is extending beyond the Bharatkhanda. But here, basically, people feel that Kautilya's Arthashastra, the conquest is not in what is called the way the Alexander has done or other persons they have done, going beyond the Bharatkhanda. Kautilya was restricting his activity to Bharatkhanda only. Bharatkhanda means, what is Bharatkhanda? Bharatkhanda, where, what is the Bharatkhanda? Means here, Bharata Desham. The idea that is conceived by our earlier thinkers is that Uttaram yat samudrasya himadreschaiva dakshinam varsham tad bharatam nama bharate yatra santatihi, like that it is mentioned. This is the idea, the notion of Bharata Desham is like this. Uttaram yat samudrasya, the area that is there from the Uttaram, from that is called north of the sea, north of the southern part of the sea, and extending up to the Himalayas. Like this entire area, Himalaya Parvatas is extending up to maybe beyond Nepal and all these things, Himalayas are there. So up to that place, maybe modern Bhutan, modern Nepal, and beyond that to that extent. And here up to Kanyakumari and all these places. This entire area, Uttaram is Samudrasya Himadreschaiva Dakshinam Varsham Tad Bharatam Nama Bharati Yatra Santati. The area in this entire area where people are living, they are all Bharatiyas. Like that, this is the idea coming from Vishnu Purana of Vishnu Purana. We are having 18 Puranas, Ashtadasya Puranas we are having. Madvayam, Bhadvayam, Chaiva, Bratrayam, Vachatushtrayam, Manapalinga, Kuskani, Puranani, Prutak, like that we tell. 18 Puranas we will be telling. So in these 18 Puranas, Vishnu Purana is one of the Puranas. Supposed to be the earliest, maybe the beginning Purana, earliest Purana, something like that they say. That Purana, this shloka is mentioned, which means that long back, people, even though they are having different languages, cultures, and all these things, one culture, what is called one idea that is running across the country is that this is the entire area is Bharata Desam, like that. This idea was there, Akhanda Bharata. This is what we tell you now also. This Akhanda Bharata, we were actually aspiring for it. Present day Pakistan, present day Burma, and all this is put together are our Bharata Khanda. This is the idea. So these are the two differences people tell. This difference is that the idea of conquest is restricted to this Bharata Khanda according to Kautilya. But other earlier thinkers, they were feeling that maybe conquering other parts of the world is also conquest. Maybe in the other parts, when they are conquering, they don't actually they don't merge the other parts of the country. They will be leaving it to the local feudatories, and it is sufficient if they pay the taxes. This is the basic little difference people tell, but that is never mentioned in Artha Shastra. It is only restricted to Bharata Khanda like that. But this is the idea of the scholars who debate on Artha Shastra. Okay, fine. Anyway, here then because of this reason, when conquest is conceived, it is necessary. But in Bharatkhanda, where to conquest? But here is that when at the time of Mauryan kingdom is established, at the time the kingdom is not spreading from Himalayas to southern part of the sea. It is not there. Only few parts of the northern India was there. Southern part was not yet conquered. So here Kautilya is advocating that the king who is there at the helm of affairs, who is also called a Vijigishu, like that the term he will be using. The Vijigishu means the person who is very much interested in conquering other countries, other parts of the world. Here country means it is not necessarily other countries. Conquering means within here in India itself there are many Janapadas were there at that time. All these Janapadas one after another, one maybe Kalinga is there, Panchala is there, Matsyadesha is there, or some other desha is there. Like that, all these things he has to conquer one after another. This is the idea. So how to conquer? For that he has created a theory which is called Raja Mandala theory. This Raja Mandala theory I will be discussing today. And here how beautifully he has conceived that idea. The Raja Mandala, here he will be saying that in the Raja Mandala, how the king has to perceive each and every kingdom. Maybe Kalinga is there. Mauryan administration may be from Patna at the time. Pataliputra. Pataliputra area to maybe Kalinga. Pataliputra area to Hastinapura. Pataliputra area to some other part of maybe some other area, Panchala. Maybe all this is how he has to look upon the king has to look at that particular king ruling that particular part of the area, how he has to look at it. Then why he has to have relationship with all those persons? Maybe he may be having a relationship to a far extent place also. He will be Janapada also. He has to have the what is called the knowledge, the intelligence of that particular part is also the king should have. Why he should have all these things we will be discussing today. Here, the king, yesterday class, that previous class, what we were discussing was that king was actually he should have he's the king, Amatya, Durga, Kosha, Danda, Mitra, like this is Saptangayuta Rajya we have discussed. In the Saptangayuta Rajya, what is the Shakti, what is the strength of each country will be decided upon the 7 elements that are functioning in the different parts of the particular country. Suppose king is there. king is king of say Pataliputra is kingdom. It is there. Mauryan administration is there. Maybe some other part, maybe what is called some other area, maybe Panchala or some other place. The king is there. The king, how he is here? The king is there. He is a Vyasanapara. Assume like that. Vyasanapara, who is in the habit of different Vyasanas, what is called Paniya, what is called other Vyasanas, maybe gambling, like this type of things he is indulged in. Then what will happen? This person can be easily subdued. That is the idea. See, similarly, Amatyas are there. The second part of what is called Saptanga Yutaraja. Amatyas, if Amatyas are very strong, maybe like Vijayanagara Timmarsu, maybe some other part, for Akbar, maybe some other person, maybe Birbal or Amir Khusro, whoever it may be like that. Like this, if it, or in Mudra Rashisa, we come across a Mantri Rakshasa. This type of persons are there, it is difficult to conquer that particular part because Amatyas are very great in that country, more intelligent persons who are having more knowledgeable persons. That country is difficult to be conquered, maybe like this. Similarly, Durga means how many forts are there in that particular area. If forts are very powerful, it will have what will happen is that the forts will actually defend the country. The country, whenever I use the country, it is here only that part of Janapada, defend that Janapada and in a beautiful fashion, and people can, the Shatrus cannot enter into that particular area. So Durga has prominence like that. Suppose Jala Durga, Vana Durga, Hanvana Durga, like that, they are there. How they are placed. In Mahabharata, we can come across Jarasandha. Jarasandha was he's in near part, Rajgiri area, it is there. That is actually the name immediately I could not recollect. 8 or 9 hills are surrounding that particular Durga. There even now also, if you go to Rajgir, people who don't go to Rajgir, many people, these tour operators also will be going up to Gaya, put Shraddha, say there and come back only. Beyond Gaya, they don't go. But beyond Gaya only, all history is there. That is Rajgiri. It is once upon a time, it is actually the administrative headquarters of Mauryan kings and other kings. So that was one area, Rajgiri is there even now also. There you come across one place, one Durga is there. That Durga is surrounded by 8 Vajragiri or something it is there. 8 Durgas are there. I physically went there and saw it actually. You stand in that particular area, you come across the Durga, the hillocks, the entire occupying the entire hillock. Maybe entering in that area in those days was very difficult. Nowadays it is of course because of the technological advances we may enter, but there it is very difficult at that time. So here, even now also there is a place where Bhima and which is Jarasandha fought on 21 days continuously over day and night. That is also one place is there. All these places are worth seeing all these things because from the perspective of history. So here, what I am telling, why I am telling is that the Durgas are very prominent. Different Durgas of the different kings, how they are there, and whether their fortification is very good. If fortification is great, it is difficult to conquer. That idea, that intelligence also, the Vijigishu should have. The person who is interested in waging the conquest, he should have the idea. Similarly, all other things, Janapada, how the kingdom, how the people are there, how people's behavior is there, whether they are enterprising or not, and then whether under the place, the Janapada means a territory. Also, the territory is fertile or not fertile. What is like that? If it is fertile area, it is because they will be having a lot of economic development will be there, difficult to conquer. Like that, whenever the Saptangayuta Rajya was mentioned, the idea of Saptangayuta Rajya is basically for the king to assess the strength and weaknesses of each kingdom. That is one idea. Then, king has to, the idea of Chanakya is that he has to spread the kingdom from north to south and east to west, the entire area he has to conquer ultimately. That is the idea of Chanakya. Then how to do this activity? In order to do this activity, who is a Setru, who is a Mitra, that is called who is the enemy and who is a friend, he has to identify. Sir, can you host me? Then I would like to show one, what is called, one picture I want to show. If it is possible, I will show that.
You can share. You can share.
I
Sir.
can share. 1 minute,
Yeah.
so I'll just see it. Share. Okay. This is one aspect. Because this is actually, I actually downloaded from some other place. Some other place I downloaded and put it in a sheet. This is actually sources is RP Kangle. Yesterday I was discussing RP Kangle. No, RP Kangle, there is one person who has translated because originally Shyam Shastri has translated Artha Shastra. When Shyam Shastri translated, depending upon one manuscript that was given by that is Ganesh Bhattacharya ji. From Tanjore, he has given that manuscript to the Mysore Oriental Library some time back, which was lying there, and he could trace it, and along with that, then he started tracing some other manuscripts. Then 2 or 3 manuscripts put together, he has translated into Kautilya Shastra. We studied. At the same time, I also told that in the first class, Mr. Kangle, one person, was very much impressed by Artha Shastra written by Shyam Shastri. Then what he did was that he started collecting different other manuscripts maybe, and then he has come out, and other commentaries and all this put together. He has come out one more commentary, Kangle's commentary like that. That is also good book. There he has mentioned this Rajamandala theory. He has mentioned there this particular thing is there. This is actually taken from that area. It is not mine actually. This is actually what is this one. See, let us see like this. Here we were telling that Vijigishu is there. Vijigishu is person who is the king who is supposed to conquer the entire country. Entire country means all the Janapadas. How he should behave. Here it is mentioned as Vijigishu. We can see here Vijigishu, the king, the conqueror, who wanted to conquer the entire part of present day India, the entire Bharatkhanda. He wanted to conquer. Then he says that according to Kautilya, the person, the neighbor that is there, that is called the neighbor. Immediate neighbor is always a Shatru, Ari. Even now also that is there. No, most of the places, the place nowadays from the present day context. Let us take India or some other country. What is called is that Pakistan we are having. It is an enemy. China is there. It is an enemy. Like that, many enemies will be there. Any enemy is there. Any border neighboring country will be a neighbor. Will be a Shatru. Even Mauritius also, some time back we were telling Mauritius also, a few months back also, the person was always telling that India is actually coming here and doing a lot of mistakes, misbehavior they are doing. Whatever army is stationed in Mauritius should go out like that. Nepal also, depending upon the country's prime minister, the what is the government that is there, depending upon that it is becoming ally, or it is becoming a foe also. Sometimes it goes to China. This type of things also it will be doing and giving lot of headaches for us. That is also, it is even though because it is bending its head because the size of the India is much more greater than Sri Lanka. That is why it is just maintaining that relations. Otherwise it is also some sort of enemy only like that. So here, but Kautilya, what he says that all this is he is not telling. Any neighbor that is there is will be having some disputes with you. Either water dispute is there, territorial dispute will be there, or some other disputes will be there. For us, we are having many more disputes which were not there in those days. What is called integrity of the state, and what is called transport of terrorism, and all these things were not there all those days. But nowadays, those things are also there. So the person who is neighboring to you is always sorry. Then what will happen? The person, this Ari is there. What will happen to him? The neighbor who will be there, it is his enemy. Ari's enemy will be here. The Ari's enemy, Shatru's enemy, Shatru's enemy, what will happen? He will be our Mitra. Enemy's enemy is our friend. That is the idea. The enemy's enemy is here. He is called our Mitra. So these are Mitras. All Mitras are denoted by this color. He is Vijigishu is there. The person who is sitting here is Mitra. Similarly, for him, he is an enemy. And for him, the enemy is this person. So this Mitra will be having Mitra here. I think you can understand this. Mitra's Mitra is here. Then here the next person who will be there, the Arimitra's Mitra will be there. From the perspective of Vijigishu, we have to see all these persons. From the perspective of the Vijigishu, the immediate neighbor is Ari. Ari's neighbor is Mitra. Mitra's neighbor is Arimitra. This is Mitra. Arimitra. Arimitra's neighbor is again Mitra. He is also Mitra, ally only. Then beyond that, he is what will happen is got Arimitra Mitra. Arimitra Mitra means here he will be there. He like this. These three persons are our enemies. 1, 2, 3 are our enemies. These two are our friends. Our means from the Vijigish perspective, like that. That we have to see into consideration. So here, how many kings are there totally? 1 is there. 2 is oh, sorry, it has gone. Okay, this is also okay. Here, Vijigishu is there. 1 king is there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kings are there here. 1 is there. 2, 3, 4, 5 kings are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kings are there. Vijigishu. Vijigishu has to assess the strengths and weaknesses from the perspective of Saptanga Yuta for all these persons. Out of Saptanga Yuta, king you remove and Amartya you remove. Then what will happen? Because they are the administrators. Other things are important for the economic development. What is the progress economy and all these things. Then what is called how he is performing his law and order and all these things. All these things actually gives the strength or weakness to the kingdom. So these are 5 elements are there here. 5 elements. Each kingdom, what will happen is that king is there, and also 5 elements also will be there. 5 elements means Saptanga Raja, you remove king also, and also king means this Amartya you need to remove. Once Amartya is removed, what will happen? All other persons will you take into consideration. Durga, Posha, all this is if you take into consideration. 6 Prakritis will be there in each kingdom. So here how many Prakritis is there? Here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kings are there. 5 into 6 Prakritis put together. Prakriti is all this is this Vijigishu has to evaluate. 5 into 12 is equal to 60 elements are there. Then beyond that we are having Madhyastha and Udasina, 2 more kings are there. Madhyastha means Madhyastha is 1 king who is actually having borders with Vijigishu and also the Sari. Vijigishu and Dari. Here it is spread up to Mitra, not necessarily. If it is cut here also it would have been okay. So Madhyastha will be having border with the Vijigishu and as well as Ari he will be there. This person actually how he will be is that he is not in between these two persons, of course. This person normally, according to Kautilya, he may be having a sufficient strength to either Nigraha or Parigraha. He can control these two persons. Or these two persons are engaging in a conflict, he can come as a mediator. Or if these two persons are coming together at any point of time because of some reason, then also he cannot care those persons because it is a bigger area, because he is bordering with the 2 places. So it may be a bigger area. Like that, Kautilya has conceived, his idea was like that. So here this Madhyama is this person. Then the one more person is that who is not connected to the entire area. He is something outside the spectrum, the entire spectrum. He is entirely outside the spectrum. He is not bordering. This person is not bordering with any other person. But still, this person is having a lot of economic resources, power, and he can control. He will be having what is called moral control over all these countries put together. This is called Udasina. Maybe present day USA, what we can call. USA, even though it is there, Udasina, because it is not neither bordering to India nor bordering to what is called Pakistan, or it is not having border with any other country. Still, it is some other area it is there. Still, it is having overall supervision and control because if it is economic dominance, nuclear dominance, whatever it may be, it is having some dominance over other countries, maybe Udasina from the perspective of India, like that. Maybe from the perspective of Pakistan, like that. They can influence these countries even now also maybe. That is called Udasina type. Here also, from the perspective of Indian Janapadas also, this Udasina will be there, Madhyastha will be there. So here 1 country, here 1 country, 2 countries, 3, 4, 5, 6 countries, 6 countries are there. 6 countries put together, what will happen? This is 7 countries. All these countries, what will happen is that first initially this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then 10 countries. 10 countries, Dasyamandalam like that it is told, Dasaraja Mandalam like that. And then this is also you need to add. And then beyond that, Vijikishu will be having from the front, these are the persons, from the back he will be having all these persons. Parshnigraha means the person who is pulling your feet like that. So he is also Ari, that is called Shetru. And then backside one more person will be there. He is actually your friend. Here he is not calling him, is called Akranda. Like that he is telling. Akranda is actually taking out the foot of this person. Parshnigraha he is taking out. His Akranda is naturally our friend. After Akranda we are having Parshignaha, this Parshignaha's Mitra will be there here. So he is also actually our enemy only. And beyond that, Akranda Sara is there. He is again our friend like that. So like that, backside 4 kings, in the front 5 kings, and then beyond that Madhyastha and Udasina. All these kings put together, what will happen is that this entire kingdom, whenever this Vijigishu wanted to have a conquest with all these persons, with this, if he is having any idea of conquering this entire area, then he should have the full knowledge of this, what is called, how Amatyas are there, how Janapadas are there, how Durga is there, how Kosha is there in that particular respective country. All these things he has to assess. He should have the sufficient knowledge and expertise. Intelligence system, his Vijigeshu's intelligence system should be such that he should actually having the knowledge of all these persons. This is the idea, please. Now I will remove this sharing. 1 minute. Where it is there? To remove it. It is still getting shared. I don't know.
I have removed it.
It has gone.
I have removed it. Okay.
You have removed it. Okay, sir. Very good. Then I have to come back again. Here it is. I could not see. I could not see any person. 1 minute. Okay, I have to put, I believe. Now I could see. So this is the idea of Mitra, Arimitra, and all these things. Then he says that all these persons he has to assess, and then he has to wage a conquest. Whenever he wanted to wage a war with the neighbor, he has to see Aris Mitra, who is Aris Mitra, and how he behaves whenever a conquest is going to happen. This is the idea which is given by Kautilya's Artha Shastra, which is called Mandala theory, what we can call Mandala theory. Front five kings, back 4 kings, Udasina, Madhyastha. All these persons he has to take into consideration, and before waging a conquest with any country, then only he has to proceed. This is the idea he has given, Raja Mandala. It is called actually this 5. That is called 5 into 6 Prakritis, and then 4 into 6 Prakritis. And then he has to assess what is called the Prakritis of Udasina and Madhyastha. All these things he has to assess. Then only he has to wage a conquest. Before waging a conquest, what he has to do, how to prepare, and all these things are also there. Let me see the time. This is 7:14 only. For some more time, I will tell them. Then go to the Kautilya Artha Shastra. This is what he is mentioning like this. Then each Ari, Shatrus are there. No, so many Shatrus we have seen, so many Mitras we have seen. The Shatrus are again 3 kinds of Shatrus will be there. 3 kinds of Shatrus means I will be telling. Here he will be mentioning. Ari Sampadyuktaha Samantaha Shatruhu Vyasane Yatavyaha Anapashrayo Durbalashrayo Va Uchchedaniyaha Viparyaye Pidaniyaha Karshaniyo Va Ityari Visheshaha. Like that he is mentioning 3 types of Aris, Shatrus he will be mentioning. What are those persons? Here what he says is that Ari Sampadyuktaha Samantaha Shatruhu. Ari is actually, he is a Shatru. He will be having a lot of Sampat. Sampat is also there, which Sampat means he is also having Ari Sampadyuktaha. wealthy person, he is also the neighbor whom you want to conquer immediately, is also having what is called, say, Raja Bija Yuktaha, like that he mentions. Raja Bija Yuktaha means he is also born of a king, but is called highly placed Varna only. He is also born like our Vijigishu. So he is equal in strength. He also wanted to conquer this country, like we are having interest in that country. He is also having interest in our country for conquest. So because of this reason, what he says that he is Arisampad Yuktaha, he is Shatruhu. If he is like that, then but still what will happen? Vyasane yatavyaha. If he is having any vyasanams, vyasanam means any allurements, he is going to fall. Then what will happen is that he is called yatavya. Yatavya means you can go for a conquest and easily deceive him because he is having vyasanas. He is having vyasanas is there means what will happen? He cannot distribute because he will be addicted to vyasanas. Then he cannot divide his entire time into 8 parts in the morning and 8 parts in the night and go and do his activities accordingly. Because of this reason, this person can be easily, if not easily, at least he can be suppressed. He is yatavyaha. He can be easily suppressed like that. Yanam we know yanam means going for a conquest. You can go for a conquest and defeat him yatavya. Then anapashrayo durbalashrayo va uchedaniyaha. If at all he is anapashraya, because the ashraya is not there for him, because no great support is there for him, even though he was having mitras in and around, like our Janapada, he is also having some mitras like that, but still anapashraya. Anapashraya means whatever support he is having, that support is not sufficient enough to wage war with Vijigishu. Then anapashraya. Durbalashraya is one more person. Durbalashraya means he is not having, mitras are there, but they are very weak. Like that. Like our Pakistan is a, Turkey is there. What is the use of Turkey? Is also a very small country. Small country, not very, very small, tiny country, which can, even though even if it supports, don't support also doesn't matter much for India. That is the idea. Anapashrayo, Durbalashraya, Uchedaniyaha. Uchedaniya means you need to destroy it. You can destroy it. Durbalashraya, Uchedaniya. Viparyaye Pidanayaha. Viparya means if at all is not like that. If he is having lot of ashraya, support is there, then what you should do? Pidaniyaha. What you should do? Pidaniya Karshaniyova. Pidaniya means what you should do? You can't anyway conquer it. Then what you should do is that you should create some problems in the country in such a way that he will be always suffering. Maybe this is actually exporting terror in that particular spot, do certain activities, or sending some persons there and preaching. They go in what is called, like Kotila is telling that some mendicants, Vichukas type of people also can be sent there. They are they are not mendicant and sannyasis. They go there, start spreading what is called unnecessary messages. That is called their minds of the people will be influenced by these persons in a wrong way. That is the purpose of these persons. They will go there and destroy their what is called character. Or there maybe people are very enterprising. These people will go and tell that enterprising is not good. Maybe you do activities like what is called puja and all these things. Go there, don't go for this activity. Business is bad, something of that nature. They may spread in that particular area. These type of things, these persons are supposed to do. They are pidaniya, karshaniya, like that. Because there he is having ashrayas are there, support system is there. If support system is there, that country anyway you cannot conquer very easily. So go there, put some seeds of destruction in that entire area by different means, including mantropaya, like that. You do there and destroy the entire fabric of that particular country. This is one more idea he has given. So this is how it is designed. They go there silently, they go there, do this activity. So this type of three type of shatrus he has mentioned. The nature, he has mentioned so many shatrus: Arimitra's mitra, something like that he has mentioned. So all these things he has mentioned. But still, these type of shatrus are also, depending upon their shakti, there are three types. One is called yatavya. Yatavya means he is having Vyasanasila, and Uchedaniya, because Anapashraya Durbalaya, Durbalashraya, then he is Uchedaniya, he can be destroyed. And if he is having a lot of support system, Then the third is called what is called Karshaniyaha. So Yataviyaha, Uchedaniyaha, Pidaniyaha or Karshaniyaha. Like there are three types of Shatrus he has perceived. Like how we have to deal with this person. This is one more thing he has mentioned. Harimitra and all this is. This Raja Mandalam, this entire structure is called Raja Mandalam. The king will be having spies in all these countries, and he has to send his spies to all these places, and he has to ensure that he will be getting the knowledge of all these countries very accurately, because these powers of these countries are also dynamic. Because today Durga is not there, tomorrow the country may be constructing a Durga. Today there may not be any dam or something like that. Then tomorrow they may be constructing a dam. Today's Amartya is may not be great, and tomorrow the Amartya, the person who is going to be appointed as a mantri, may be a lot of intelligent person. Kosha, earlier the Kosha was not sufficient. Maybe there some mines are, they got some mines, whatever it may be. Kosha is now full. Then they will be having sufficient economic background in order to sustain that particular Janapada. So in that place, it is difficult to conquer that country. Like that, what will happen? The power structure is very dynamic and it will be changing very often. So the king who is wanted to conquer the entire country, that is a Vijigishu, should be having the knowledge of all these kings, their strengths, their weaknesses, and the dynamics of their strengths and weaknesses also. Because it will be changing, it will not be constant, it will not be permanent, it will be changing all the time. So he should be having that knowledge also. He should have that knowledge also. He should have. This is called basically the entire idea is enemies. Enemy of my enemy is my friend. This is a basic idea of Rajamandala. One basic idea of Rajamandala. The second thing is that each enemy or mitra will be having the Saptangayuta. Saptangayuta means even if you leave out King and Amatya also, all other five Angas are very important in order to assess the strength of a particular country. In order to assess the strength of the country, you need to see the Durga, you need to see the Kosha, you need to see how land order is there, which is called Danda. Like that, all these things, if you can see, what will happen is that you can assess the strength of that particular country. And king's weaknesses, king's strengths, personal strengths and weaknesses of the king, all these things also will be mattering. So all this Prakriti is what we can call. Prakriti is of each king, and the entire spectrum, the entire knowledge the Vijigishu will be having in order to wage a conquest. This is the idea he has given. Then, what is the time? Time is 7:23. Shall I stop, sir, today? Or shall I continue for some more time?
It's up to
Because
you, sir. You have
some
to
more time
do.
I'll continue. Another 10 minutes at least I will continue.
I'll give you the message at 7:35. You
Okay,
can start.
7:35. Okay, 7:35
I'll
it will
alert
be
you.
more, sir. 7:35
Right.
will finish and next take up for the questions and answers. Okay.
Right. Thank you.
Then when he is waging a war, what are the methods he has to adopt? That is also there. What are the methods he has to adopt? Here he has mentioned. Apart from this mantra shakti, utsaha shakti, prabhu shakti and all these things, he is also mentioning some other things. What are those things? It is actually Shadgunyam Adhikaranam, it is like that. Saptama Adhikaranam. Kautilya Sarthashastra. I told in the beginning of the class that there are 15 Adhikaranas are there. It is in the Saptama Adhikaranam, 7th Adhikaranam it is there. There he is mentioning, there are certain things he is mentioning. There are 4 methods by means of which he should try to penetrate in the other kingdom. What are those things? He should be having a relationship with other king with in the respect of 4 aspects. What is called Sandhi, Vigraham, Asanam, not 4. Sandhi, Vigraham, Asanam, 3. Yanam, Samshayam and Dvaidibhavam. These are the 6. These are called Shadgunyam. This is called Shadgunya theory, what we will call. Shadgunya theory means 6 aspects, in 6 ways he has to deal with the other king. What are the 3 ways with the Shatru? Particularly with the Shatru, he has to deal in 6 ways. What are those 6 ways? This is called Shadgunya theory, they will be telling. The one is called Sandhi. He has to make peace with the Ari. When he will make the peace? When if he is making a peace with other country, other neighbor, you can't become a big issue. But still, sometimes peace is also required because sometimes your opponent is more strong and you are not strong enough to conquer him because of different reasons. Maybe you may be having utsaha, shakti and all these things you may be having, still you may not be having economic potential to wage a war with that particular person. Then the better to make peace with him and try to concentrate in some other areas and you can conquer like that. That is called making peace. That you should do. Then there is called vigraha is there. Vigraha means suppose your opponent is weak and you are strong. What you are supposed to do? You have to conquer that person. This is called a vigraha, hostility or war. The king, he has to opt this hostility or war, particularly if the enemy is inferior to you in power or inferior to in economic strength or inferior to in military strength, whatever it may be, you need to wage a war with him. This is called vigraha. Sandhi is there. Sandhi with whom? If you are weak and the opponent is strong. Vigraha is when you are strong and that person is weak. That is called it. Then the third one is asana. Asana, we know, asana means sitting on asana. Yoga asana, what we can call. Yoga asana means sitting like that and doing some activity. Here also asana means you neither want to wage a war with him, nor you want to make peace with him. He will be like that. He is remaining quiet. That is called asana. Remaining quiet. It is what we can call neutrality. Maintaining neutrality with your person. With your shatru, maintaining neutrality. When you are going to adopt it, you are strong and he is also strong. Or you, the Shatru cannot enter into your country and you cannot enter into his country because he is also having sufficient strength and you are also having sufficient strength. He cannot destroy you and you cannot destroy him. In the situation, what you maintain, what is the type of foreign policy you need to adopt? You need to adopt what we can call neutrality. This is called asana. He mentions asana. One is sandhi, then vigraha, then asana. It is asana does not mean it is an inactivity. You cannot call it inactivity, but you are maintaining what is called a quiet, a quiet way. You will be behaving with your shatru, and if he wages a war, you are ready to wage a war. If he is not waging a war, you need not wage a war. Like that. This is asana. The fourth one is actually yana. Yana means actually what is called marching towards the country, or the other country. It actually what will happen is that you have consolidated your power with either with coercive policies or with what we can call friendship and all these things. You are actually in certain time, place or certain situation, you are in a high position and the adversary is in low position because maybe suddenly your Shatru king has died and a minor is installed in that particular spot. Maybe initially that particular gentleman may not be having expertise to wage war with you. All these days he was either equal to you or he is also having a lot of strength, power and all these things. You may not conquer him. Then this is the situation. A time has arrived in wherein what will happen is that you will be having sufficient fodder to feed over, which means that there is sufficient ground has been created. Maybe some disturbances are there that the Senapati has actually rebelled against the king. The internal disturbance is there. The army, there is the division in the army, whatever it may be. Or who the minister has died suddenly, new minister is not appointed. King has become a minor king, and king has died. Something of that nature. You have to constantly observe what is happening in that country. Suppose the country is at particular point of time he has become weak. Otherwise he is strong only. Particular time of peace or time he has become weak. At the time what you should do? You should do yanam. Yanam is actually marching towards the country immediately. Yana. Yanam is rail yanam we will be telling, which means called rail yatra. Bus yanam is going like that. You should immediately do that is yana activity you should do. And then you have to subjugate the enemy. This is called yanam. Fourth one is yanam. Then samshraya. Samshraya means you have become weak. In a similar situation, Vijigishu has become weak because of some reason. Technically, you have lost some power. The Senadipati died because the new Senadipati is not strong enough to replace that gentleman. Maybe that is the situation. Or your minister died and immediately you could not find a good minister. Or maybe some other Janapada, some disturbance has happened, earthquake has happened in your place, or some thunderbolts have happened. Some what is called natural calamities have happened and you have become weak temporarily. At that time, other person will be conquering you also in the same way. At that time, what you should do? Samashraya, seeking shelter with other great person, some other person. You should take shelter with maybe with Madhyastha or maybe with Udasina. You need to take asylum with him. Asylum with him. And what you should do is that I will be giving you some part of my tribute I can pay. Please protect me in case of any external aggression. My enemy, if he is going to do some external aggression against me, please protect me like that. This is also what is happening nowadays. Also, the Samashraya we will be doing, seeking shelter, which is a preferred policy. When the adversary is rising and you are becoming weaker because of some reason, then it is called Samashraya you have to do. This is called fifth one he is mentioning. Then the last one what he is mentioning is that Dvaidi Bhava. Dvaidi Bhava means behaving in two fashions. Suppose you are having two enemies you are having. The back side is also one enemy is there. Front side also one enemy is there. What you should do is that sometimes both people will be trying to attack you. At the time, better option is that you make peace with one person temporarily, stating that I will be your permanent friend, and then what you should do is that you should wage a war with other person, because you will be having your army and all your energies can be diverted to this area, this front, and you can conquer Dari, because you need to make friendship with other person. Two persons are coming at a time, you need to make friendship with person. That is called Sandhi in one place, Vigraha in other place. This is called the Dvaidi Bhava. These are the six Shadgunyas, depending upon the situation that is available and depending upon the Shatru's strength, that is called whether he is Yatavya or what is called one more thing we have to know, Yatavya, Pidaniya, or Udasya. The three things, Yatavya, Uchedaniya, Pidaniya, or Karshaniya. Or Pidaniya or Karshaniya. These three aspects we have to take into consideration. Then you have to embark upon your journey. And somehow you have to continuously do this activity in order to have more and more land for your country. If more and more land is there for your country, more and more resources will be flowing into you. If more and more resources are there, your people will be having more economic power, economic advantage, and all these things you will be having. More buffer areas you will be gaining. In that way, you can actually create an ecosystem wherein your people will be surviving in a happy mood. This is the idea here, please. This is the idea of Shadgunya theory. Shadgunya theory and also Rajamandala theory. These things you will be mentioning for the purpose of foreign conquest and all these things. So this you need to take into consideration. Rajamandala is one aspect. Shadgunya is one more aspect. These two are actually normally UPSC people also. If you take the question papers of Union Public Service Commission, IAS, IPS, those persons also. Rajamandala theory 2 or 3 times it is given, and the Shadgunya theory also they will be mentioning when this the 6 types of activities are to be seen. And whether Kautilya's theories are relevant today or not, that is also if you take into consideration. All these things, people tell that because the persons who have seen the administration of other kings from the beginning, Kautilya's time onwards, maybe up to even now also maybe, people feel that these 6 principles are being followed even by the people at the helm of the affairs. Shivaji's total administration was based on this Shadgunya theory only, they mentioned. Similarly, many other persons. Even now also we are doing the same Shadgunya only, sometimes with Udasina. Maybe our Udasina is actually this USA and other places. Russia, not bordering with our country. They are away from some other our place. Still, we will be having that friendship with the Udasinas because they can influence the entire spectrum of the Mandalam. That is there. Only thing is that we don't have any pursuit for conquest. Vijigishu, we are not Vijigishus. We are actually peaceful loving people. We want to be here only. And you take the history into consideration, Indian history, if you take into consideration, maybe Cholas, maybe exceptions, they went for foreign conquests. And I think no other king has gone for a foreign conquest. They will be restrained to India only. They will be there. And no conquest. That adventurism is not there for Indian kings. Maybe we are all peace-loving people basically. If at all we are attacked, then only we try to attack. If they don't attack, we don't attack at all. We will be peace-loving people. In that way only, India is maintaining all these things. But of course, in those days, it is necessary because it is necessary to expand the country. Maybe this is this Vijigishu theory what China is doing nowadays. They wanted to expand. Because of this reason, they will be having southern Pacific Ocean also. They are having their people, and Nepal also they are having their stationed there, and there are some other parts of the Europe also they are having their stations and all these things. All ports are being built by China. Many other places also they are building the ports. Of course, India is also building in different places. Of course, maybe because of the necessity, geopolitical necessity is making India also to do all these activities nowadays. But geopolitical activity is more prominent in China and other areas where they are having stationing their armies, their ports they are maintaining in different parts of the world as a whole, like USA and all these things. This is a broad idea. This idea of Kautilya's Arthashastra, in one way or other way, people are adopting even now also. Sandhi, Vigraha, Asana, Yana, all these things people are also doing nowadays. This is the relevance of Kautilya's Arthashastra, and which he has visualized in. We have to imagine the time that is called 3 and 321 BC. He has visualized this idea. That is the greatness. Now, because we are having all this technology and all this is, and political knowledge, we are having the border knowledge is there. Google Maps are there. With all these things, we are doing these activities. But in those days, nothing is there. In those days, he was having this vision. He was having that we have to appreciate and we have to admire Chanakya. With this,
Okay, sir.
today's class I will complete, and you can take the questions. Sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. And
Okay.
you have already answered one of the questions. So that's the reason I didn't stop you at
Okay.
7:35. But then I'll start with the questions in the chat box. You have already answered this question. How Arthashastra is relevant to today's polity? You can
Yes.
still answer.
Yes, sir.
You want to add?
Adding is nothing is there, sir, because thing is that whatever that he has mentioned in Sanskrit terminology only, but here same thing we are using some other terminology only we are using and we are doing activities. And beyond that you can't do anything also. Sandhi, either you have to make peace with other person, either you have to do some vigraha with other person maybe. And maybe asana, yana and all this is all countries are doing nowadays. All countries are doing in the perspective of the world as a forum, world as a stage. But Kautilya's perception was only with regard to Bharata Khanda at that time, because different Janapadas were there and different Janapadas. His idea was to establish a single king for the entire Bharata Khanda. That was the idea. Maybe the earlier kings, maybe Dharmaraja, these persons have done like that. No? In that way, he wanted to establish it. That was the idea. In those days, that was a necessity. Beyond that, going beyond India was not the necessity. So his activity was restricted at that time to Bharata Khanda. Maybe now everybody is following the same principles. Everybody is following the same statecraft they are using, and they are doing all creating all troubles also. Pedanaya troubles also they are creating in different countries. We are experiencing the same trouble. India also we are exporting. We are having terror is there. Communal tensions are also there nowadays, which were not there in those days. So all these things are also actually they are actually injecting communal violence in India, inciting communal violence. This is called they are doing this at Pak cannot defeat India because of this reason. What they are doing, they are actually exporting terror and also doing this type of activities they are doing, creating some trouble, internal trouble they are creating. This is the idea, and you believe it or not, and most of the countries which they wanted to destabilize our country, they are doing their activities in big universities like Harvard and other places. Research is going on in many places. Indology, why they are studying means not necessarily to learn something from India. It is actually to learn the weaknesses of India, whatever that is there. That is why they will be dividing India into different whatever segments they can divide, they can divide. This now also the same thing. Hindus, if they want to divide, what they want to do, they have to do. They have to divide the BCs, SCs, STs, something like that. Something like that creates some sense of what is called they are not neglected. Something of that nature it is to be created in their minds. and incite them. So this is the idea. When that is done, what will happen naturally? People will be divided. When people are divided, people can be easily defeated. So in that way, people are doing nowadays also it is being done soft way. Nowadays, earlier days it is a hard power which we were actually telling. Nowadays, the soft power is there. Soft power is there, exercising power over other country by means of not aggression, by means of ideas. The ideas you are going to conquer the other country. One country can be conquered with ideas, and they are also what is called using religion also. And there are many places we come across a situation wherein one African leader has mentioned that maybe by the end of 21st century, Europe need not be conquered by us. Europe will be conquered by our population. Right? That he has mentioned. That is also there because we come across these type of statements in the countries because that is really exporting all the religion there. When you export that all religion, England and other places, to believe it or not, some 50, 60 years back, what was England and now what is England now? Because in India, England is actually 50% is now some other religion. The Christianity is going away like that. Maybe it is actually the tilting of the balance, tilting the balance from the perspective of the religion also they are now playing. Religious wars are also happening. Clash of religions are also happening. And because you have 7 or 8 billions of people are there in the world, out of that, the two religions actually fighting with each other, maybe to establish their supremacy. And because of this reason, they wanted India is one thing that is spared. They wanted to do that activity also. That way, what is happening is actually we are seeing how they are doing this Chanakya's Niti only they are applying in different places. And, India is also, of course, they are doing this type of activity. We were also having allegations from Canada that some person in Canada is actually destroyed by India. Something of that nature. A few years back, the Canadian Prime Minister was alleging all the time. Correct or not, we don't know. If at all it is correct, it's Chanakya theory only again. Like that. This
Okay,
is
sir.
yes,
So the other question is, what are the main teachings of Chanakya relating to economics and governance for individual and social well-being?
That is one more class I would like to take, sir. Last class.
Okay,
Economic activities and other things. Last class maybe.
thank you. And the other question is, what are the teachings of Kautilya relating to human resource development? Of course, this is also you will be taking into
Yes, sir. Next only, sir. Human resource
right.
development. All this is only
Then
next. Maybe.
what is the okay, Padmavati garu.
Let the
Oh,
question be.
Gurugaru,
Let the
right.
question be.
namaskaram.
Just a minute, just a minute.
1
Okay.
minute, madam. Then let the question be restricted to the last 3 classes, madam. What is not
Right.
told, if you ask also, because I
Right.
have not discussed it, it is
Yeah,
difficult to
please.
answer also. That is the idea.
Fine, no problem.
Yes, sir.
Padmavati garu, you ask a question, don't ask for repetition, please.
గురుగారు నమస్కారం అండి.
Namaste, madam.
ఏరేం క్వీన్ అని లాస్ట్ క్లాసులో చెప్పారు మీరు.
చెప్పండి.
అంటే అది పర్యాయ పదం అండి లేదంటే కనుక అలా వాడేవారా రాజుగారు వాళ్ళు ఉన్నప్పుడు ఏరేం అంటే ఆ వరుడు ఇది వరకు వెళ్ళలేదు అందుకని ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేయమని అడుగుతున్నా గురువు గారు.
ఏది మేడం?
లాస్ట్ క్లాస్ లో మీరు వామోపద ధర్మోపద అర్ధోపద కర్మారంభోపాయ పురుష ద్రవ్య సంపద దేశకాల విభాగ తర్వాత ఎరేం క్వీన్ అని ఒక వరుడు వాడారండి. ఎరేమో ఎరేలో క్వీన్ గురించి క్వీన్ కి పర్యాయ పదం ఒకటి చెప్పారు క్లాస్ లో మీరు.
ఇట్ ఈస్ హరెం సార్, హరెం.
హరెం అండి, తప్పు రాసుకున్నాను, క్షమించాలి.
HAREM, harem, madam. Harem means it is actually Antahpuram, like that. It is actually harem means a place where queens are residing. Harem, the entire place put together. Queens area is called harem, madam. Maybe kings in those days were having so many queens they were having, and the entire area is actually administered by one person. That is also mentioned in Kautilya's Artha. The harem is administered by one person. That is normally a eunuch. That practice was there subsequently also. Even in Akbar's time also, when Akbar was ruling our country, at that time he was having many wives he was having. And even now also, if you go to Akbar's palace, Agra fort, if you go, he is having Agra fort. King's palace is something different. King's residence is one area. And these 4 other persons are also having 4 persons. One person is from China, one person is from Italy, one person is from India, that is Jodhbai, not Jodhbai, that what is called that lady, Jodhbai only, I believe. and some other person. 4 persons are having 4 different chambers they are having. And one queen cannot enter into other queen's place, and other queen cannot enter to this place. And again, it is we study in history that he has created an ambience in Hindu queen in such a way that he can observe festivals and all this is, yes, that is there. But still, you believe it or not, according to history sources, she never went to her native place, what is called mother's or father's place subsequently. Once she has come here, that is the end of it, and she never went there. And they were coming here and going, seeing her and going, but she was not allowed to go to their place. She never went. She was here only restricted to this area. It's a big chamber, of course. This is actually, you believe it or not, it is also called golden parrot. Golden parrot type. Golden parrot,
Cage.
parrot, golden cage, like that. Parrot in a golden cage, like that. Rabindranath Tagore has written an essay. If you find time, you can see it. A very beautiful story he has written. Stories, Rabindranath stories are, Tagore's stories are very interesting. In that, parrot in the golden cage, like that he has mentioned one story is there. Very beautiful story. Like that, she is also like a parrot in a golden cage. She was in that place only. And she was actually, all these queens and other queens were also overseen by one Danda Adhyaksha. That Adhyaksha, his name is mentioned. Many eunuchs used to be there in that area, and they were actually monitoring the entire system. The people who are coming inside and who people are going outside, and all this is being watched by all these persons. That is there because Kautilya's Arthashastra theory is there in Akbar's place also.
Okay.
And anybody has to follow those things, no? That is, everybody is a human being only. And Kautilya's Arthashastra is not meant for Hindus. It is meant for any king for that matter. So that is, in that way, it is being followed by everybody.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Pantul
ధన్యవాదాలు.
Ravindra garu.
గురువు గారు నమస్కారం అండి.
Sir.
Sir, this Kautilya regarding the boundaries of Bharatkhanda is told that north is a sea or a samudra. As per now present Indian subcontinent, north is not the sea. Whether he considered other parts of the globe for Bharatkhanda. Because north is Himalayas, south are seas are now presently.
Yes, sir. That is correct. That is what we have also discussed now, sir, actually. What is the shloka? What we have discussed is actually, what is the shloka? 1 minute. Uttaram yat samudrasya. Uttaram yat samudrasya. The area that is above the samudra, the area that is above samudra, himadreshchaiva dakshinam, the area that is below Himalayas, like that, that is the idea. Uttaram yat samudrasya, which is actually above the samudra and which is actually below the Himalaya Parvatas, that is the area of Bharatam. Uttaram yat samudrasya himadraishchaiva dakshinam varsham tad bharatam nama bharate yatra santatihi.
Okay.
The area above samudra.
Right.
Like that, sir.
Area
that
above the
meaning.
above the samudra.
Yes, sir. Uttaram yat samudrasya
One more thing.
Sir, you type in Google also Uttaram yat. If you type in Google, it will be immediately the shloka will be appearing, because this shloka was prominently used by Majumdar. Majumdar is one of the historians of India, no? Because he has written Advanced History of India. He has written in the Advanced History of India. The first he starts with Uttaram yat samudrasya himadraishchaiva dakshinam varsham tad bharatam nama bharati yatra santatihi, like that he will be mentioning Majumdar. Majumdar, one more R.K. Chowdhury, one more gentleman is there. I don't remember that person name. This is 3 authors book like that. We used to read this book we are in a degree, BA Economics History Polity, like that when we were reading the 3 authors book. But 3 authors book was actually, it was not prescribed book. Out of interest, we were going to library and we used to get it, and we were reading this text. This is a great book,
Okay.
Majumdar book.
Right.
Right, sir, one more thing. Sir, one more thing, sir. This is Shatgunya principles or Shatgunya elements which are told now. They are as good as applicable to personal development also, sir, I feel. Because now there is a Telugu one proverb is there, Viyanikaina, Kayanikaina, Samavujji Undalini. So all these elements, this is this Nigraha, Asana, and all Yana, all these we are considering for personal development also, sir.
Maybe I don't think like that, sir. It may not be for personal development, personal relations you can call it, I believe. Because if you are dealing with some other person,
personal relations.
I feel like that maybe your perception may be different. What I feel is that it is not actually a development purpose, means you cannot fight with your neighbor. That is called Vigraha, you can't do it with other person. Maybe what you can at the most is that you can bark at him, but you cannot bite at him, no?
Even to fight with others also, we have to calculate his limit.
Calculate his limit, because
Okay.
if your neighbor is there always creating trouble to you, you have to see whether he is actually political affiliation he is having, or he is
Right.
having power he is having, then only you have to deal with.
Let us take up other questions because
Yes,
the
sir.
time is running out. Savita Shastri garu.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Guru garu.
Namaste, Mahodaya.
Namaste, madam.
Thank you for explaining everything so wonderfully and with patience. Mahodaya, I have one small question. We everywhere, even in Kautilya Ardhashastra, we were emphasizing on 4 Varnashrama dharmas.
Correct.
Which we are telling it has been there from earlier period also.
Correct.
I just wanted to understand. See, only in Bharat Desha we are trying to bifurcate. Earlier, across civilizations, many were there, and nowhere this Varnashrama Dharma was followed. I understand that this was started with a good intention, that
Yes,
people have to work and all. But now, when it has come to the present period, it has been diluted in a different way.
Yes, ma'am.
So why are we still emphasizing on Varnashrama Dharma and all when other civilizations outside Bharat Desha have managed to also progress equally well without this Varnashrama Dharma?
Madam, Varnashrama Dharma actually this Varna and Ashrama Dharma. So this is actually social perspective only. These two things are perceived by our ancient rishis, madam. Thing is that here, why they insisted like that? Because if you go back to Manusmriti, and all persons who are born actually are treated as Shudras only. The child who is born, immediately he is a Shudra only. According to Manudharma Smriti. Because once he attains the age of 6 years, something of that nature, 6 to 7 years, 6 to 8 years in between, the person, there will be one spiritual person in each and every village. The spiritual person will assess this child, whether this person is going to be according to his tendencies, according to his gunas, the way of he behaves, and all these things he take into consideration. He says that he is going to be a Brahmin. He says that he is going to be a Kshatriya. Because if suppose he is an aggressive in nature, maybe he aggressive in nature and do some good activity for other persons, maybe he used to test those persons and decides whether this person is a Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya or Shudra. Suppose a very dull person is there, he is a Shudra like that. He need not be given all this what is called Vedas, Puranas, knowledge and all this, because he is a dull intellect person. Then he give him a Shudra area, place him in Shudra area. And not necessarily according to the birth. Suppose that same Shudra person after growing up, he is having one child who is having a lot of intelligence, then the same person will be assessed as a Brahmin only. That is for this Mahabharata it is mentioned, Shudra yonopi jatasya sadgunanu pratishtitaha. Then he can attain, suppose even if he is born as a Shudra and he is Sadgunanu Pratishtitaha. If he is there, Sadgunams he is having, then he can become a Vaishyatvam, he can become Kshatriyatvam, and he can become a Brahmanatvam, he can become, like that it is mentioned. So it was the way it is actually started going. Maybe what happened in between is that over a period of years of a civilization, normally what will happen, our civilization is not the civilization like USA. USA civilization is hardly 400 years, 500 years back only. But our, not, I think it is some 300 years back only, the civilization has started in USA. And Europe also, in most of the places, it is like that. But here, our civilization is going back to 5,000 years. What has happened is that over a period of years, 5,000 years, normally what will happen is that the different aspects, maybe this person, maybe people are actually, maybe the person, the spiritual person who is sitting at the helm of affairs may not be in each village, he might not be there. We don't know whether he is there or not there, and population is getting expanded. to differentiate persons according to their gunas and attitudes and all these things. It is difficult to delineate each person either into Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. So ultimately what happened is that even by Bharata time itself, we could see that this Kula system has started in coming into a picture. That is called the Sudra's person is Shudra, the Vaishya's person, son is Vaishya, Brahmin son is Brahmin, like that. Good example is that Sutaputra, we will be telling. Sutaputra means Romaharsha, who taught actually Mahabharata. He is actually very great qualities he is having, but still what he is still considered as Suta only. Why he is considered Suta? Sutaputra, Purani, Sutaputra, Shaunakadi, Mundul, Chosi, like that we will be telling. So here he is still considered as Sutaputra because Suta's son is Suta only, like that. Hiranyadhanva's son is Ekalavya. He is also Suta, like that it is mentioned. So what is happening is ultimately is that over a period of years, this is degenerated. The system is degenerated. Same terminology is remained. Terminology remained. Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, terminology remained, and the spirit has gone. When the spirit has gone and the structure is there, what happened is that skeleton is there, but the spirit has gone. So what happened is that
there is so much imbalance.
It is actually becoming a caste system. Even now also people say that Varnashrama is something bad. Varna Dharma is bad in those days. Like that they mentioned. The Shambhu Kavada in Ramayana, same exact story, same thing. No, why Rama has given that Shudra. But the Shudra in that aspect is actually, this is the idea. Idea is something different. But here we actually criticize old tests basing upon the lens that we are using in current day. That is not correct proper also, because Varnashrama Dharma was relevant in those days in order to sustain the society. Like yesterday, I was telling the example in the introduction class only. I was telling, suppose office system is there, that king like branch manager is there, software person like Brahmana is there, and the Vaishya marketing person is there, Shudra the substaff is there. But you cannot put Shudra substaff into the branch manager place. Naturally, you can't put them because he is a dull-witted person. He like that. If according to guna, you have to distinguish a person according to Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. But you are not doing like that. When you are doing what you are doing is that his son is Shudra, his son is Brahmin. That is something bad which has crept into the system, and actually degenerated the entire system. And still people are believing that this is Varnashrama. What is there in Varnashrama of Mahabharata? Or Kautilya's Arthashastra is not the same Varnashrama which is prevailing now. So it is as good as it is not there in India only, but still it is actually, it has come like that.
Okay.
That is the idea, madam.
Sir,
thank you.
We are not taking any steps to correct it, modify it, and explain it in a better manner.
The Indian Constitution is
because
the
the wrong message is being sent into the society.
This is actually, madam, this is actually telling something wrong because of political reasons, vote politics and all these things is creating the divisions still many more divisions are happening because of the electoral politics. The electoral politics is making people actually wanted to have the strength of each and every kula. And one great leader, opposition leader has told sometime back that you count the people and depending upon the caste, give reservation. The reservation is actually conceived for the purpose of the suppressed people, not all other caste people. But he is telling that all other castes also I am going to give reservation if my party is going to come to power. So that is the type of persons are there. For him, so many followers are there. What we can do? Nothing we can do.
Dhanyawada.
Yes, madam.
Okay, now I think with your permission, can we have question and answer session after the Pradhana, Nagaraja Rao garu, or you are busy?
Today also a little busy only, sir.
Okay.
How many questions are there, sir?
No, there are no more questions. Somebody raised the hand, but at this moment there
One
are
or two we can take, sir. One or two we can take up, then we will go, sir. Okay, no problem.
After the Pradhana, can we do it? 8 o'clock?
Only one or two only, sir. Beyond that,
right.
Otherwise, need not be. Tomorrow also we can take up. No
right. No problem.
Yes,
Babu garu.
Okay, Dhanyavadamalandi. Nagaraja Rao garu, thank you so much. Now, Venkatnarayan garu, please.
स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण महीं महिषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु काले वर्षतु पर्जन्य पृथिवी सस्यशालिनी देशोऽयं क्षोभरहितो ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः अपुत्रा पुत्रिणः सन्तु पौत्रिणः अधनाः सदनाः सन्तु जीवन्तु शरदां शतम् सत्यं वद धर्मं चर स्वाध्यायान् मा प्रमदः सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः सर्वे जनाः सुखिनो भवन्तु स्वस्ति
సర్వే జనాః సుఖినో భవంతు. ధన్యవాదములండి వెంకటనారాయణ గారు. థ్యాంక్ యూ సో మచ్. లెట్స్ గో ఫర్ నేషనల్ యాంథమ్. చల్లా చిట్టిబాబు గారు ప్లీజ్.
जनगणमन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंधु गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तब जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे जय
జై హింద్.
जय
ధన్యవాదములండి చల్లా చిట్టిబాబు గారు. నౌ లెట్స్ గో ఫర్ రిమైనింగ్ పార్ట్ ఆఫ్ క్వశ్చన్ ఆన్సర్.
Yeah, I will take up only one question, which is, I think it can be crisply answered.
In the
Is
house,
Chanakya secular or Kutila or genius?
I could not understand the question.
Is Chanakya
Ah,
secular, Kutila or genius?
all the three put together, no?
Simple, that's what.
Yes, sir. All the three are there, sir. He is a secular because he is the person who actually what is called the tutelages of religion. He has actually he has separated religion from the administration. But one aspect is there. He is a genius, no doubt. That is also there. And then he is also Kutila Niti. He has applied. That doesn't mean that he is a Kutila person. Thing is that he used that method only for the purpose of the kingdom, for the purpose of the people's sake only. He used that method. Otherwise, he is a very sattvic person who is actually established in dharma. But he advocated some sort of adharmic activities for the best interest of the country only. That we need to understand. In that way, he is not Kutila. He is a dharmic person. The
And
dharmic person
ultimately, is a genius.
otherwise advocated Kutila theory, but still purpose is for the larger interest of the country. Interest of the country is more important. So for that reason, he used this Kutila theory.
Right, sir.
Thank you, sir. Chanakya is a legendary person.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Right. Yes, I think there are no more questions. So we thank Nagaraja Rao Garu again.
sir.
We'll
Okay,
meet on Monday again.
Monday, sir. Yes, sir. We will meet, sir.
Yes. Babu Garu.
ఓకే.
Okay, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.